there, Sam here, and welcome to my channel, Snuggle with Sam. In a previous episode, we talked a lot about different things you shouldn't say to a professional cuddler when reaching out for a session. And we had some real cringeworthy stuff and a couple funny stuff in there. So if you haven't seen that, highly recommend watching that video. It was really fun to just even watch my own reactions when I looked at editing it. But otherwise, one of the questions that came up at the very end was, well, how should I reach out for a cuddle session? And while I can't tell you what to do in every single scenario, there are some principles to follow that will get you better results than if you just reached out hoping that they would respond with whatever you could. Some of these are going to seem really natural and normal and like basic decent human being things to do. And that's pretty much the basic gist of things. To summarize anything else that I'm about to say for the rest of this video, if you just need one piece of advice, it's to treat whoever you're reaching out to like it's an actual human being on the other end. And there's a lot to consider on how to best do this, and it's going to depend on where you're reaching out from. So I'm going to start, there's four different principles in particular that I want to draw your attention to so that you can have a more successful and good first reach out and first impression with whoever you decide that you want to work with. So before we even dive into anything, this is highly dependent on where you reach out to a cuddler. It's going to be different if you reach out to somebody on, say, Cuddlist than if you reach out to somebody on, say, Cuddle Comfort or Cuddle Companions. The reason is because of how the websites are set up. With a place like Cuddlist, they take a monthly fee from the cuddlers, so each session is already covered. They don't take any money from each session on the platform. In the case of a place like Cuddle Comfort, they have different rules on reaching out because they get a cut of every session. And so trying to undermine that and get around those rules is not seen as very kind and can lead to banning. So let's get into that first one. So rule number one is, as you can imagine, follow the platform's rules. Especially if you're in the places like Cuddle Comfort and Cuddle Companion, those places are reliant on cuddlers and cuddle clients being on the platform and committing to sessions through the platform. If you try to go off of the platform and they find out, they can ban both the cuddler and the client for that reason. So any attempts to just prematurely give contact information so you can talk on the phone is not taken kindly. So whatever platform you use to reach out to a cuddler, just keep in mind that they also have to follow these rules in order to be able to stay on the platform. So don't try to make it harder for them by trying to encourage them to break the rules. Including, and not limited to, contact, we're also talking about if you try to go off of the platform prematurely, a lot of site administrators will see that as a way of trying to solicit discreetly to the cuddler, and they don't take kindly to that, especially because there's now a lot of laws cracking down on websites that have that happening on their platforms, whether they're aware of it or not. So they will be even more strict and try to shut that down if they see anything that indicates that that might be what's happening. So even if you're like, but I just want to be able to contact and talk to them better, there are certain ways that you have to go about that. And if that's not something that you're down for on that platform, well, don't use that platform. You don't have to. There's many other ones out there. And rule number two, read the profile of the cuddler or the site rules or their website if they have one. Why? The number of times that I've had somebody reach out to me and say, oh, I want to do a session with you. And I'm like, great, did you read my profile? And they said, no, it's too long. I didn't have time. So you didn't have 5 minutes to read my profile, which discusses everything that you need to know and all the questions you have, but you do have the time to try to book me for an hour. I think your priorities are a little mixed up here. Take the 5 minutes, save yourself the time so you're not wasting your own time, and then you're also not wasting my time to see if you are actually following the directions. A lot of cuddlers, including me, will have directions in their profile. So if you try to reach out in a way that's actually not indicative of how I asked in the profile, you're screening yourself out prematurely. I'm probably not going to reach out. And if I do, it's not because you're reaching out for a session, it's because you're reaching out for something maybe I did on the forums or something like that, which I'm not super active on the forums, but I do spend some time there. So I get reach out sometimes saying, hey, I appreciate what you put out there. And that's fine. But that's not what reaching out for a session should be about. It needs to follow the protocol if they call for one. Some people do, some people don't. It's not always clear, but in order to know, you need to read the profile. Take the 5 minutes to see if this person's a fit. In addition, a lot of people have been really wary about professional cuddlers hiding under the guise of something else, or even just people catfishing. The fastest way that you can take a look and see if this is going to be somebody that's going to waste your time is to read the profile. So if you're worried about somebody wasting your time, take the 5 minutes to sort them out and decide, this is not somebody I'm interested in seeing. I'm just not. And then you can just sort them out yourself. Rule number 3, treat us like a human being. Yes, we're a professional cuddler. Yes, you can cuddle with us, but we're not just some body that you can hold close. We have our own ambitions, dreams, and we care about people. This is why we're in this work, for the most part. Some people I've actually met that don't care about people. You would probably screen those out yourself if you read the profile, like I said in number 2. If you're gonna reach out to us just being like, hey, are you available? Okay, you're just trying to get a body. That's what I'm getting out of that conversation if we've never spoken before. I don't like that. I would rather go with somebody that reaches out and treats me like a human being with the first contact. And that goes for number 4. Respect our time. So a lot of the things that I said up to this point is also related to this last point, because reading the profile is definitely important for respecting our time, because then you're saving time for yourself and you're saving time for us because we've already read the stuff that's important for you to know. But also you'll learn a lot more too, because if you're going to respect our time, you're also going to respect when we are available if you do reach out, and how soon we can take a new session. Because some people, yeah, they can make their schedule work that day, but not everybody appreciates getting requests on the same day if they've never talked to you before. And even if you have talked to them before, if your last contact was, hey, are you available? That's usually indicative that you might have been just reaching out to whoever's available and you don't actually care about working with us. And that, again, doesn't really make us feel like we matter or that we're human. You're just looking for a body. That does not feel good at all. But the other thing is that, especially on these platforms, some cuddlers do want to talk to people a little bit to see if they're a fit. I certainly do, but I don't want to talk on the platform. I want to be able to talk to them on the phone. Some platforms won't even let me talk on the phone or even exchange contact information off the site until we've set up a time to meet. Now, in those cases, you're not set in stone to abide by those. And in fact, if we do our call and we decide that, no, we're not a fit to work with each other, I can contact the website and tell them, hey, we decided to cancel the session, and they will refund your money if they've taken your money beforehand. Otherwise, we can easily just cancel the session. So we can schedule a time prematurely, talk on the phone, and then confirm the session via the phone call. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's the easiest way to make sure you're at least on the schedule of somebody, and then before you see them for the session, you actually get to talk with them. So those are the 4 rules that I would say help with reaching out, but I actually haven't given you words to use yet. So tell me below, I'd love to see in the comments, based on what I said in this video, how would you reach out to a professional cuddler when you're looking for a session? I'd love for you to comment below. If you like this video, please smash the like button, hit the subscribe. I have more videos coming out that will help you and others with finding a professional cuddler that works for you. And as always, I care about every single one of you. Bye for now.